What's up YouTube, it's Wildheart. This is SplitPush tutorial you've been looking for. Mastering the art of SplitPush can be an essential skill for any league player because it allows you to solo carry the games. Typically, when we speak about split pushing as a strategy, we think about top laners. In fact, mid laners and ADCs can be great split pushers as well if this play fits in the game circumstances. Here in this video, I'll show you the drills on how split pushing in League of Legends works and how to do it right so you can start splitting right after this video. Let's get started. Split pushing is a macro-focused strategy where you focus on taking turrets and keeping constant pressure on the enemy side lanes. Ideally, you pressure the opposite side of the map where everyone else is located, so if the enemy team is bot, you're hard pushing top lane or vice versa. The goal is to force a response from your opponents or ideally simply take their turrets and base for free, since they've chosen to leave you ignored. Either way, it's a strategy that forces your opponents to make a decision, which can cause them one way or the other, and it's one that takes quite a bit of finesse and awareness to pull off. So let's unpack what it takes to make split pushing work. In League of Legends, split pushing is mostly done by one player. However, sometimes the jungler or the support may follow the split pusher to surprise the enemy team, while the other players are taking down the objectives elsewhere on the map. Split pushing is done in the top and bot lanes. This is because they are longer than the mid lane and it takes more time for the enemies to get to you. There are other reasons these lanes are best suited for split pushing, and I will get more into it later. Now that we defined split pushing as a concept, let's look at some of its pros and cons. While every game of League of Legends is different, the core benefits and drawbacks are relatively the same, and noticing patterns and opportunities to split push is a key in every match. So as I usually say, practice makes everything perfect. Getting objectives and gold for you and your team, forcing team fights where your team outnumbered the enemies, resulting in a winning fight, allowing your team to secure objectives around the map without contesting them, solo ending the game while the enemies focus on your teammates or objectives on the map. While you are split pushing, multiple enemy champions may come to stop you from taking a turret or an inhibitor. In doing so, they are forced to choose to either give up the objective or their base. This is one of the strongest influences you can have in the mid to late game in League of Legends, and it's important to understand how powerful it can be for controlling your enemies on Summoner's Rift. On the other hand, if you are very good at split pushing and choose your moments carefully, you can push while your team is fighting over an objective and take the Nexus by yourself. This is very situational, but with the right champion, it's not an impossible task to do in League of Legends, especially for those who are subscribed to my channel. Not being part of crucial teamfights with your team. Not everyone understands split pushing, and communication is key to a good split push. One mistake becomes a major setback. You will get flamed for not joining the teamfights. Many times in League of Legends, especially in low elo, players choose fights that are beyond reason. A good split push works best when you communicate with your team and stop them from engaging at the wrong time. For example, let's say you want to push the bottom inhibitor. You still haven't reached the minion wave yet, and your team starts and loses a fight for no objective or reason. You must then call off your push as you are the last member of your team alive and the enemies are likely to take your base. Obviously, sometimes your team may actually fight for an important objective such as Elder Dragon or Baron, and that's understandable. But knowing whether your team has any chance at winning the fight and whether you should continue or abandon your split push is a difficult skill you need to develop in League. Many strategies, champions and methods exist in the area of split pushing, but the main two things I'd love to point out are communication and wording. Understanding of split pushing isn't something every League of Legends player possesses, and explaining what are you trying to accomplish to your team in game and in detail is a great step toward getting a victory. Knowing where your enemies are in the map is essential for you to do a successful split push. You can't blindly force a split push and get collapsed by all 5 of your opponents, so you need to have vision all over the map, but mainly around the area you choose to push. This will help you to keep track of the enemy team so they don't surprise you with their engage. But learning more technical strategies will help you even more, and there are 2 additional concepts I want you to take a look at here. They will take some time practicing, but I believe anyone can master them if they put the effort in. While your team can make mistakes by initiating too soon and ruining your push, there are also mistakes that you can make. Overextending is when you're pushing mindlessly or on autopilot. Not coordinating your push with your team's position and starting before they're ready can cause you to fail for little to no reason. Split pushing is never about overextending. It's about pressing the pressure points at the right time. So always watch your minimap and be aware of their positions and the enemies to not have this happen to you. Being behind in League of Legends is awful and we have all experienced it. But even something as daunting as facing a fat enemy laner with 2 items on us is there is still a possibility for a split push. First, You need to accept that you are behind and analyze whether grouping with your team would be better than split pushing. If you add little to a team fight, head into a lane and apply pressure there. Someone will have to eventually stop you, and when that happens, you are already helping your team by holding someone more fed than you in a lane. If they ignore you, take turrets and get back into the game with bounty objects. If your teammates are winning their respective lanes, this makes it much easier, as the person who beat you will have to help his team while you push. There is no exact time to split push, and it's more about adapting to the situation. For example, if your team wants to rush at 20 minutes Baron, the best place to split push will be the bottom lane. Be sure to ping your teleport timer so your team knows you can pop in if you are needed. The Rift Herald is another objective that is deadly in the hands of a split pusher, and it almost guarantees an objective. If used correctly and at the right time, maybe even multiple turrets will fall. Most split pushers can solve the Rift Herald and secure it for themselves. And when you get the Rift Herald, it's always a good time to split push. But be careful if your jungler is not near or the enemies have a vision in the area. Alternatively, you can help your jungler take it, and if he is feeling generous, let you take the eye. Split pushing with the buff from the Baron can also be very powerful. Once Baron is secured, try not to teamfight unless you're very confident in a good result. Instead, the best thing you can do is to start split pushing immediately. Let your team push one lane and focus on what you have been doing all game, only this time with a powerful buff that makes it much easier. Split pushing is an art form. That being said, not every champion in League of Legends can do it well. Focusing mainly on the top lane, here are 3 great split push champions in League of Legends. Jax is one of the most powerful split pushers in the entire champion roster League of Legends has to offer. Jax is a strong pick that can be deadly if he gets ahead. With a great kit, including an attack reset with his W and a quick escape ability with his Q, Jax can be very slippery even when collapsed on by multiple enemies. He has the ability to dive an enemy that tries to interrupt him from completing his push, and therefore multiple enemies are needed to stop him. Camille is another bruiser that I added to this list because of her great playstyle and kit. Camille can dominate most laners early while being strong mid to late game as well, as she is a very consistent tempo pick. Her E is a great tool for escaping enemies collapsing on you or to initiate a dive to clear the way for a deeper push. Combined with her true damage Q, which is also an attack reset, and the Shin proc from the mythic she builds, Camille can take turrets with ease. One of the most hated champions by all top lane mains. Fiora also benefits greatly from the split pushing strategy. She is a deadly duelist that can 1v1 almost every champion in the game if played correctly. Fiora has a low cooldown dash, true damage, and an attack reset, and if you get ahead on Fiora, the enemy top laner might even leave the lane in danger and allow you to split push for free. Thanks for tuning in and watching my video. I appreciate your time and attention and hope you found it informative and enjoyable. If so, please like it and leave the comment below video which topic you would love to see covered in the next video.